Have you ever wanted something so badly only to have others not allow you to have it? If you have, I feel your pain. For me, that was in 1975 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was 5 years old. You see, my three older brothers, they went into the backyard and they dug a hole. And in that hole, they put a Folgers coffee can. They poked a hole right in the middle of it and they put an orange bicycle flag. And then they reburied it in the backyard. For what seemed like 50 hours, they took turns hitting golf balls into that Folgers coffee can. They had went down the street and they had got a used golf club from a garage sale. I sat off by the side, just waiting for my turn. You see, the problem is I was the fourth brother and the youngest. That turn just never came. But later on in the night, my Superman swooped down and saved the day. That Superman was my grandfather. We called him Papa. He was my mom's dad, and he was the golfer in the family. See, later on in that night, Papa took me out to the backyard. He put a golf club in my hand, and I remember that instruction like it was yesterday. I can remember the words that he used. I can remember the actions he showed me. I can only hope that you have such vivid memories of that first swing as I do. What I haven't told you yet is what type of golfer Papa was. We'll tell you, he was a fantastic golfer, and I'd like to think that I inherited some of his genes. Here's a picture of Papa and my mom back in 1957 after winning the father and daughter state championship in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Going back to that day in 1975, it started a chain reaction of events over the course of the next 45 years that put me right in front of this screen and put me right in front of this camera with you here today. I am so glad that it did. If you've had a chance to visit the My Priorities tab and on my website, daveschneiderpga.com, you would have quickly realized what's important to me, what my values are. That, of course, is my faith and my family. Deb is the love of my life. We just celebrated 25 years of marriage back in October. Seems like yesterday that I can remember saving up for her engagement ring. We have three amazing boys, and Nicholas and Nathan and Colin. They are my why. They are why I smile every night and I get up every morning, can't wait to tackle the day. I am truly, truly blessed. So my PGA journey really started in the spring of 1990 while I was in college. A roommate of mine had asked what I was doing for the summer and asked if I wanted to come work with him at a country club in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's called Elm Crest Country Club. The job that he had presented to me was an outside service job. I was going to pick the range, clean clubs, park carts. But the most important thing, was that I was going to have a chance to play the game of golf, which I love so dearly. Little did I know that I was going to work for Iowa Golf Hall of Fame member and PGA member Larry Gladson. Mentor, second father figure. These are the words that I have used to describe Larry's impact, not only on my career in golf, but for me as a person. Over the next 6 years, Larry taught me so many things. But the one that stuck out with me most is his concept of, Dave, your success in the industry isn't about you playing championship golf, but it's about your ability to put others' needs ahead of your own. It's all about the relationships, he would tell me. His lesson still rings true to me today. So humbled that Larry would take a chance on a kid like me to dedicate his time and his energy to make me better than I could have ever been on my own. I really hope that each of you have been blessed with a PGA mentor like I have in Larry Gladson. I hope you've had a chance to review my resume that I sent each of you just recently. Wanted to make sure that you had that ahead of time so you could look at my background and my experiences, so that way we could spend more focused time today on topics that really matter. The first thing that you might have realized with my resume is that I worked at 9 different facilities and worked in 6 different sections. This was actually one of the first questions that were asked to me after Super Regionals 1 and 2 is, Schneider, it looked like you bounced around a little bit. Well, it's actually been one of my favorite questions to answer. The quick answer is I worked for Troon Golf for 8.5 years. The Troon Golf, the management company, had a knack for moving the Schneiders around every 2 years. You see, I took that as one of the greatest compliments to my skill set and to my work ethic. They kept moving the Schneiders, kept moving me to greater jobs with greater responsibility. Took that as a huge, huge compliment. So I've held prominent positions in all 3 of our career paths. I've also worked in many different types of facilities. I've worked in private equity, private for-profit, resort, and even daily fee. These experiences assist me in being well-rounded and relatable, especially when serving as your next PGA secretary. I'd like you to take a look at the screen for a moment and reflect on this quote by Tony Robbins. Change is inevitable, but evolution is optional. Never did this take on greater weight than it did on March 12th, 2020. That's when the NCAA canceled March Madness. Now, for a Midwest boy, that really got my attention. That was also the day that the pandemic became real and change became inevitable. For all the pain and suffering it has caused, COVID seems to have had a reverse effect on our golf game. For many, it's meant doing more with less. But for most of our professionals that I've talked to, they are saying that interest in the game has exploded at their facilities. If you're like us here at Happy Hollow Club, we have not seen this many moms, 6th and 7th grade girls pushing pull carts up and down the fairways of number 9 and number 18 outside my window. And then also the laps golfers have come out. It has been tremendous and fantastic for the club and for the game. So change is inevitable. I so wanted to be in Denver, Colorado with you right now. Wanted to be able to shake your hand. I wanted to look you in the eye. Wanted to have lunch with you, have a dinner with you, talk about what's important to you, what's important to your section, and most importantly, what do you want to see out of your next leader of our association? But here we are. This is the first Zoom regional of its kind, and we're adapting. As we are all so compelled to do in the face of adversity as PGA members in an association, we adapt and we overcome. It's in our DNA. I want to highlight an example of this out of the Midwest section that I recently read in PGA Magazine. Now, when COVID closed down their facilities, PGA members Greg Danovic and Ryan Cloud of Eagle Bend Golf in Lawrence, Kansas, were compelled to overcome the circumstances and serve their community. See, what they did is they partnered with a local aquatics director and their local park and rec. And what they did is they created a scenario to where they could clean and wash the clothes of the homeless in their community. They also provided them with a place to shower safely. Now, Greg and Ryan, of course, deserve our recognition and thanks, but the take-home message for me more than anything is that these 2 individuals put others' needs ahead of their own. That is the PGA of America I want to be part of. Our association and our member professionals have a tremendous opportunity right now in front of us with the recent explosion of golf. The game is cool again, and interest is high. Evolution is at our doorstep. Will you join me? My approach to our future as an association can be summed up by the wheel that you see before you on the screen. There are 4 spokes to the wheel: wellness and health, education, employment, and leadership. Like a wheel, these spokes support the integrity of the wheel, and if any of the spokes are missing, the wheel will not function properly and it will ultimately fail. The first spoke in the wheel is wellness and health. Now, I would think you would agree that wellness and health probably holds a little bit more gravity right now than it did when I unveiled it at Super Regionals 1 and 2 in Atlanta several months ago. Several months ago, I shared this exact slide, which focused on the comprehensive campaign to my wellness spoke. Physical fitness, nutrition, excuse me, relationship building with the family and with your spouse, certainly managing tough schedules and stress, and then really the other items are depression and anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, with COVID hitting, how relative are these items in our lives right now? Now, in this next slide, I have a list of real life challenges and facts that we're dealing with in one way or another. Now, if you want to push pause so you can read them, that's fine. Maybe you can come back to them later. But what this slide is going to reflect is that items like depression, alcoholism, domestic violence, even suicide, ladies and gentlemen, these are all on the rise and are of greater concern because of the pandemic. These are real challenges and these are real people. They're our neighbors. They're our friends, our coworkers. And then if you're ready for it, they're even our fellow PGA members. Just because we wear the badge doesn't make us immune to any of these challenges. Actually, statistics show it's the exact opposite. How many of you feel that you are operating as a well-oiled machine, mentally, physically, and spiritually? I admit over the past 6 months, COVID has challenged me and my family in ways that I could have never imagined. And if you're like me, wouldn't it have been nice to have a centralized clearinghouse of information that would have helped us return to optimal functionality with our mind, body, and spirit, with health and wellness opportunities? I believe that we can give that to you as an association, but it does not exist right now outside of our member assistance program that we call Support Link. So what would be my plan as your next officer? Well, to be quite honest, they're very simplistic things. They don't cost a lot of money and a lot of effort, but they are so impactful. How about creating a centralized hub on pga.org that professionals can find a wide-ranging information on health and wellness? How about education seminars and podcasts that link PGA professionals with health and wellness experts? And then the one that probably is going to have the most impact on me, and it might on you as well, is why not creating a PGA think tank? It's as simple as this, folks. You take PGA professionals, you group them in similar career paths, and you have them in a room or on a video chat together discussing similar challenges. That's how you get to the root of solving problems as a family. A healthier PGA member can optimize their performance when they have a better, healthy mind, body, and spirit. Have we ever needed that more than right now with the pandemic impacting our lives? The second and the third spokes in the wheel are employment and education. I believe with all my heart that education and employment go hand in hand when you're talking about jobs and you're talking about increased compensation. Now, serving on the employment committee for the past 2 years and the last year as the chair of the employment committee, plus serving 2 additional years on the National PGA Education Committee, I feel that I have a comprehensive understanding and a tremendous advantage of where we have been, where we are right now, and where we need to be as an association and as a membership in these 2 departments. When discussing employment, there are 2 items I want to mention today: recruitment and our PGA value. Let's first talk about recruitment. We must address the alarming decrease in the number of associates over the past 20 years. The PGM universities and our PGM 3.0 program are seeing steady declines in the number of PGA associates and members coming out of our programs. We are not attractive enough for that top-tier collegiate talent right now. Maybe we're not attractive enough for the second career individuals we're trying to target. And how about just our military folks that are coming home from service? Ladies and gentlemen, we are not attractive enough to get enough of them at the pace that we need. All my experience at the national level, these are the reasons I see for the decline. Takes too long to complete the program, costs too much, especially when you add in travel. We do have some barriers. One of the barriers is you got to have employment in the industry before you can even begin the program. And then two that I'm going to speak a little bit more about are the work-life imbalance. And then we're all very familiar with that entry-level compensation being too low to be attractive. Now, I spent considerable time debating with the membership chair, the education chair, the officers on all of these points on which ones are most important. Quite honestly, they're all important. But I'd like to target two of them. The one that strikes me the most, other than that entry-level compensation, which I'll talk about in a moment, is really the work-life imbalance. We must provide and promote a better work-life balance with a career in the PGA of America. So how can we sell the following? Let me just walk you through this. Sit down, young man, young lady, I want to tell you what you just signed up for. You signed up for nights, weekends, holidays, kind of a crazy schedule. By the way, those individuals you just graduated college from, they're going to go ahead and they're going to work for more money in a different career. They're probably going to work a job 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, 9 to 5. And then, by the way, they're probably going to play more golf than you are. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a tough sell. And secondly, when discussing employment, we all need to tout our value as PGA members way more than we currently do. It has a direct impact on more jobs and greater compensation. As PGA members, we are way too humble. So the best and most efficient way to show our value is the concept of the PGA revenue scorecard. Now, during Super Regionals 1 and 2, I challenged the delegates and I challenged the officers, each one of the sections, to, on a show of hands, how many of them have used the PGA revenue scorecard or a concept of it. You would be amazed at how many of them did not raise their hand. And these are the leaders in our association. Ladies and gentlemen, formally meeting and presenting facts and figures multiple times a year of how you have brought more rounds and revenues, such as merchandise sales, food and beverage, or even membership sales, that makes them more money, has an incredible impact in two ways. Number one, this provides you an ace up your sleeve during review time. You're right in the middle of showing your value, and now it's time to talk about your compensation levels. You need to get paid for that. And then number two, and the one that I think it's all gonna hit us right near and dear and heart to us, is the fact that you now have a seat at the table with the individuals that are operating or approving the budgets. Now is the time to get that entry-level compensation up for our assistants and our associates. You just showed them how much the value you have as a PGA member. Now you can sit down and say, in order for me to bring more rounds and revenues, I can have a return on investment by increasing the compensation from that $28,000 to $32,000 mark. We got to get it up 10, 15,000 more. We have to compete in the marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most meaningful way for us to impact change in these two categories. I have many more plans and actions that I'd like to explore if you will give me that chance as your next PGA secretary. We have a tremendous opportunity, and evolution is here. The third spoke in the wheel is education. I have comments from two viewpoints. The first relates to our lifelong learning concept, and the second from a standpoint of education as it relates to the two pathways to attaining PGA membership. When it comes to our lifelong learning concept in our three different career paths, I am all in. I think we are the industry leaders in cutting edge education in 2 out of the 3 career paths. Teaching and coaching and golf operations, I think we truly are the leaders and we're doing fantastic things. However, when we get to the third career path, and that's in executive management, we are not the leaders. We have so much work to do. We absolutely have to make an impact, and we have to do it very quickly. What type of positive impact do you think it would have if our PGA professionals had a deeper skill set in the areas of business finance, food and beverage, legal, human resources, and how about even membership sales? Do you think potential employers filling GM and executive management roles will be more interested in hiring a PGA member? Absolutely will. Do you think we could better compete with these executive level jobs with the CMAA members? We absolutely will. Now, I realize the executive career path is not for every PGA member. However, it is a fact that the fastest growing career path is executive management. As far as education and our two pathways to attain membership, I am very excited to share that I have been working hand in hand with the membership committee chair, the education committee chairs, and the executive officers, working towards concepts where individuals who desire membership will be able to do so that are more cost effective, require less time, have fewer barriers, and here's the most important thing: it's not going to reduce our quality. When you couple these efforts with a better work-life balance and increased starting wages in our industry, now we will be able to start to move the needle and get more needed folks into our industry. Again, folks, we are evolving, and I am honored to have a seat at the table in these conversations. Finally, the last spoke of the wheel is leadership, and it acts more like a rim. It holds all of the spokes together, and it keeps the wheel moving in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what leadership is. The next couple of months, you will be asked to select the next officer of the PGA of America. It will be that individual that will act as the rim and be the true leader that will bind our 41 sections together towards a common goal. So over the course of my life, I have observed and researched and created and honed my own leadership style that I call a 360-degree leadership approach. It is an endless pursuit of a style that utilizes the entire organization for success. It is a top-down, bottom-up, and horizontal approach that has successfully unified teams that I have led and boards that I have served for the past 20 years. While I would enjoy discussing my leadership style with you in greater detail, I really want to focus these last few minutes on sharing with you one strategy in particular that I would push hard for the moment you elected me as your next PGA secretary. That strategy would be to better utilize one of our greatest strengths, our greatest resources, our greatest partner, and that is our executive directors. These 41 men and women are the central nervous system of our association. Every aspect of our business model and membership model runs through these 41 individuals. We stated in our strategic plan that they're our partners and play a huge part in our success. Their voice needs to be heard directly with our officers and our national board of directors. When I am elected, I will push for day one that these individuals work directly with our officers and our board on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, I have further ideas specifically outlining and showcasing my leadership style that will further unite our 29,000, our delegates, our EDs, the board, and our staff. This is mission critical. In closing, I truly believe that we as an association are poised to do amazing things. Interest in our game is steadily rising. Frisco is becoming a reality, and we are evolving. I hope that we can further our conversations where I can share more details in my vision of the wheel. I'm excited to see what the next 6 years holds for you, what it holds for me, what it holds for our game, and what it holds for our association. I hope that you will give me the privilege to serve as your next officer, representing your voice and your values. Let's get rolling.